Good morning and a warm welcome to the students of Smt.R.S.Kalaria Primary School English Medium Junagadh. My name is Rajshree Lakhani and today we are going to study about Standard 8 Social Subject. Chapter name is Effects of British Rule in Our Country India. This chapter is also related to history. In the previous chapter we have studied about that with which particular policy they just started involving in the internal and external affairs of our country India. Wellesley, who introduced the subsidiary alliance policy and annexation policy, which was being introduced by Dalhousie. Now slowly and gradually the particular reforms which was being made by Dalhousie in our country India, slowly and gradually that affects the life of the people of our country India, and the people, most probably the population of our country India, come to realize and admiring, having the suspicion that this particular reforms which was being started by the British East India Company and the British government, that is going to kill our Indian culture, demolish our Indian culture and want to change our Indian culture into the Christianity. So in this chapter we are going to study about what is the effect of the British rule in our country India. In the year 1757, by defeating Siraj-ud-Dowlah, Britishers started their political power in our country India. Later on, in the year 1764, in the Battle of Buxar, by defeating Mir Qasim, Robert Clive and the British East India Company started the particular different types of policies in our country India. The first one after the year 1764, that was the Diwani right. So in this chapter we are going to study that what are the effects of the British rule in our country India. So the particular points which we are going to discuss in this particular chapter are conditions of peasants. Peasants means the farmer, and agriculture during the British rule. The second topic, that is what was the effect on the social life of our country India, the population of our country India. The third one, that is destruction of the Indian trade and the industries. Now the particular reforms which was being started by Britishers in our country India, suspicion about the reforms in our country India. Now here let us start with the first topic of the particular chapter, that is what was the condition of the peasants and agriculture during the British rule in our country India. Now, after defeating Mir Qasim in the Battle of Buxar, that was the year 1764, Britishers got an opportunity. First of all, the Britishers, with the Battle of Plassey, Britishers want to have a free trade without paying the taxes, a free trade in Bengal, which was a permission given by Aurangzeb, that without paying the taxes, the Britishers, merchants and the officials have the right to just have a trade in our country India. So the British got an opportunity, new opportunity to increase their income by getting Diwani right. That particular right which was being introduced after defeating Mir Qasim in the Battle of Buxar, that was the first policy which was being introduced by the Britishers in our country India, that was the Diwani right. Now they got Diwani right of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha, the biggest center for the trade. During that time, the biggest center for the trade in our country India was Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. Now they started exploiting peasants for the revenue. Now here it was like that way in a Diwani right, according to the annual basis, the peasants, the farmers have to pay. If they are facing the loss, if they are facing the profit, it's upon their love, but in the annual basis the peasants have to pay or taxes in a Diwani right to the British East India Company. So the peasants become poorer. Peasants have to sell their jewelry to pay the revenue, and if they are not able to pay the particular taxes, it was a rule in a Diwani right, it was a rule made by the British East India Company that whosoever, this particular Diwani right was specially made by the British East India Company to exploit more and more farmers from our country India. During the early ages, India was known as the golden sparrow, and the reason behind that was gold, silver was best in our country India, but along with cultivation of the crops was also best in our country India. Wherever there is agriculture best in the particular country, their economic system is always going to be best. So here peasants, Britishers make a rule that according to the annual basis of the income, peasants have to pay the taxes. If they are not paying the taxes, then they are going to get the punishment from the government. So here, so peasants become the slowly and gradually poorer from our country India. A large number of the peasants had to borrow money from the money lenders and they fell into a debt trap. Slowly and gradually, if they were not able to fulfill the particular taxes, Diwani right taxes to the British East India Company, they started selling their jewellery. If they are not able to fulfill with that particular selling of the jewellery, they are borrowing the money from the money lenders by giving their land and house in the particular debt. So here, farmers lost their land and the agriculture in India suffered a lot. Here it has been said that in the year 1770 CE, when this Diwani right was going on in our country India, during that time Bengal just faced a famine and lakhs of the people died due to starvation. But then also Britishers were very firm for collecting the revenue from the peasants. So the particular peasants who are working out in a heavy sunlight, they are not saying about the day and the night and completely working hard. They were being started exploiting by the Britishers in our country India. Now to collect that particular revenue, a name was being given by the Britishers that was named as Permanent Settlement Act. In order to collect revenue, Governor General, this particular Diwani right was being introduced by Lord Cornwallis. So Lord Cornwallis enforced an act and that name was given as Permanent Settlement Act. Now here, as per this act, the company fixed the revenue on the annual basis. What particular income is there of the peasants, on the basis of the particular annual income, the annual revenue was being fixed by the government. While landlords were given the permanent right of land and revenue collection. Now here it was being made a rule by the Britishers that the collecting the revenue will be always in the hands of the landlord, and because of that only landlords considered themselves to be the superior, and on the another way the peasants who are completely working out for in the heavy sunlight and without seeing any of the season, they are completely working out. They started exploiting due to the Diwani right. Now let us study about the next topic, that is what was the feeling of the particular Indian people towards the policy of the Diwani right. Now here the policy of social reforms adopted by the company made people feel insecure and suspicious. The particular reforms which was being started in the Lord Cornwallis, Lord Wellesley, Lord Dalhousie, whatever they introduced in our country India, slowly and gradually people come to realize, first of all we were feeling security for the particular reforms which was being made by the Britishers, but slowly and gradually they come to realize, the Indian people come to realize insecurity and having a doubt for the reforms which was being made by the Britishers. They felt that the government was trying to convert them to Christianity and was destroying the Indian culture and religion forever. It was being just and admired by the Indian people, the Orthodox people. They were thinking that the Britishers want to just destroy our Indian culture and want to change our Indian culture into the Christianity by just starting the railway lines in our country India, having the modern postal and telegraph system in our country India, stop evil customs from our country India, started English education in our country India. That creates a doubt in the mind of the people. Now here, there was a rule passed in Agra, an order was passed in Agra that every Indian has to salute the Britishers whenever they are on the way. Whosoever, from the small kid to the old age people, when the Britishers are coming out, the governors and the British officers are coming out, it was a rule in Agra that they have to salute, and if they are not saluting, then they are considered to be the criminal, and the punishment is being given to that particular people. Now here, the next topic, destruction of the Indian trade and the industry. Now here, it is being said that textile made in our country India, it was like that way. The Britishers got with a Diwani right, with a Diwani policy, they got a particular right that with the permission of the Aurangzeb, they just got a chance to have the without paying the taxes, they can import and export the goods from our country India. So what they used to do, it was being made by the princely rule made by the princely state of our country India, that the Indian markets, whosoever is producing any of the product in our country India, they have to pay 80% of the percentage to the Indian government, and because of that only England people, the Britishers used to take raw material in a bulk from our country India and just exporting that raw material from our country India to the factories of England without paying the taxes. The finished product was being completed in the factories to save themselves from the selling of the not paying of the taxes. They used to take the raw material from our country India with a very cheapest price from our country India, and the finished product were being done in the factories of England. Later on, they were taking the finished product to our country India in the Indian market. During that time also, importing of the goods from the factories of England to India, they were not paying the taxes. So they, with a very cheapest price, they are with a great profit, and with the cheapest price they were able to earn the money profit from the Indian market, because when they were exporting and importing the goods, they were not paying the taxes. Why? In our country India, whosoever is producing or making any of the products in our country India, they have to pay 80% of the tax to the government, and because of that only in our country India, the Indian merchants were becoming poorer and poorer, and the reason behind that was Britishers, whereas they were getting a great profit for not paying the taxes of the goods of import and export with a very cheapest price, they were paying the taxes. Why? Our Indian just facing the loss also, they were not able to fight and having a competition against the Britishers in the Indian market, and because of that only the handicraft and cottage industry of India could not withstand with the competition which was being started by the Britishers. So Indian small scale industry could not sustain themselves. Lakhs of these skilled workers become unemployed due to this particular planning which was being done by the Britishers. They were earning as with a less amount also, with a less costing price also, they were selling with a less rupees, but then also they were earning more and more, and while we were facing a lots of loss, but then also we were not able to withstand a competition with the Britishers. Now here, the particular English education which was being started by the Britishers in our country India, what was the benefit? What was the advantages of introducing the English education in our country India? Along with a coin has always the two sides. One is the advantages and another is the disadvantages. Now what were the advantages of the English education which was being started by the Britishers in our country India? Let us see. Nationalistic thinking developed among the Indians. The reason behind that was, as we were having our own language, our own Indian culture, as English is a global language, by studying the English language and learning the English language, we come to know about the things what are happening in not only country India but all over the world. Now here, the educated Indians welcome the social reforms, the particular evil customs that was sati system, Dudh Piti, many more, Pada system, child marriages, which was being started by our forefathers. By getting the English education, our Indians support to stop the evil customs from our country India. Along with the advantages, there was also the disadvantages. Now here, disadvantages of introducing English education in India are: Indians lost the advantage of acquiring the ancient acknowledge our forefathers' languages which was being started by the forefathers of our country India, ancestors of our country India. By getting the English education, we stop getting that particular advantage of the language which was being started by ancestors and the forefathers. English education enslaved the nation, and by this way the advantages and disadvantages was there for the English education. Now here, reforms made by William Bentinck in our country India. Lord Dalhousie, Lord Wellesley, Lord Cornwallis, whosoever came to our country India, they were having only one intention: to increase the prosperity, resources of the England with using the resources of our country India. But William Bentinck was something different from the others who previously became the Governor General in our country India. This person get a lots of advantage for our country India. Now when William Bentinck became the Governor General in our country India, he just put a great effort to make a life more and more good for the people of our country India. When he was being sent from the country of England, he just came with a very liberal thinking in our country India, and by seeing the situation of the people of our country India, he decided to have some of the changes in the life and the lifestyle of our people country India. Now when he became the Governor General in our country India, William Bentinck, he just introduced Indians were given job in the company's administration. Before that, there was a vast difference in the military reforms. In the military, the railways, we were having a discrimination on caste, color and creed. We were not. As in the military, the Indian soldiers were getting ₹7 per month, while the Britishers were getting ₹150 per month, and always the higher post was being secured by the Britishers. How much we were capable, the great reference between the ratio of the Indian soldier and the Britishers, the 6:1, there was a differentiate between the Indian and the Britishers, but then also all these highest posts were being in the pocket of the Britishers. In the railway line also, we were having a great discrimination. As we were having black skinned people, we were not allowed to travel in the first class compartment. In the jail also, we were having the same discrimination on caste, color and creed. So after William Bentinck became the Governor General in our country India, we started getting the opportunity to have a job in the British East India Company. Indians, before William Bentinck was not there in our country India, Indians were not allowed to use the mother tongue in the court, in the judiciary. But when William Bentinck became the Governor General in our country India, he just allowed the Indians to use their mother tongue in the court of law. And apart from that, this person banned the practice of sati with effort. Raja Ram Mohan Roy was a great reformer of our country India, and he was a person in his childhood days, he just had a suffering of the child marriage. Later on, when he grown up, his brother was being died, and his brother's wife was being burned alive on a pile. And by that particular situation and with that particular incident, Raja Ram Mohan Roy decided to ban the sati pratha in our country India. So with the support of William Bentinck, they just banned the practice of sati in our country India, and from the year 1829 there was a ban of sati system in our country India. Now this person try to remove the social evil from the society. Previously in our country India, as we were not educated, we were more believing on the social evil customs, and we were the blind believers, and because of that only he, along with the reformers, tried to remove the evil customs from our country India. Now here an education committee was formed during his time. In the year 1834, this person along with Lord Macaulay decided to have the English education in our country India. Lord Macaulay was an advocate. So along with his help, with the English education was started in the year 1834 with the help of the Lord Macaulay. But most probably they decided to spend 1 lakh rupee every year for the upliftment in our country India. But many of the young generation did not desire to have English education because they were thinking that Britishers want to kill our Indian culture and want to convert our Indian culture into Christianity, and because of that only they have utilized the currency, the rupee, for the more and more development of the English education, but it was not being just got the advantages opportunity by our Indian youths. Now here, railway, post and telegraph were introduced in the country in the year 1857. That was already, we have discussed that particular point in lesson number 4, that in the year 1854 Dalhousie started the 3 universities in our country India, that was in Mumbai, Chennai and Kolkata. Now the particular reforms which was being started by the Britishers, what was the benefit towards the Britishers? Let us start the topic now. They could get them educated workforce, as many of the people started getting the English education, the communication among the people and the Britishers become smoothly, and they were able to get the good work from the Indians. The second one, many machines were invented to facilitate industry, transport and communication. For the smooth administration of the British East India Company and the British government, they just introduced many of the transport and communication in our country India. Now here, introduction of railways in India helped quick transportation of the army. That was, Dalhousie started the first railway line between Mumbai to Thane in the year 1853. That helped the people, the British East India Company, to move in a bulk of the soldiers from one place to another. Apart from that, telegraph and post helped them to exchange the messages easily. In the year 1854, the model postal system and wireless system started by Dalhousie that helped the people, the Britishers, to transport, just have the easy communication with one another. The last point, that is printing press and newspaper, also helped the Britishers. What the things are happening in the England and what the things are happening in the country India was being just exchange of the messages being done by the printing press and the newspaper from our country India. Now, the last topic of this chapter, that is benefits of the British reforms for Indians. Already we have discussed about what were the particular benefits for the Britishers. Now, in this particular topic, we are going to study that what were the benefits, which was the reforms started by the Britishers in our country India. Later on, how they just got benefit for our Indians. The first point, English education developed a nationalistic thinking in the Indians. We started knowing about not the particular things which are happening in our country India, but what the particular things are happening all over the world. By getting the English education, as English is the global language, by just getting the education in English language, we started come to know what the things are happening in the all over the world. The second point, the emotion of nationalism was developed in the mind of Indians who were brought closer with education. Now by the nationalism was being created due to the education which was being started by Britishers, newspapers, railways, post and telegraphs which was being started by Britishers in our country India. By getting the benefit of all these things, nationalism which was on the regional base started just having the nationalism in our country India by using this particular reforms. The third point, nationalistic emotions created a longing for the freedom in the minds of the literate Indians who were the educated Indians. They come to realize that instead of fighting for the region, let us be united and fight for the nation, not for the region. And because of that only, by getting different types of facilities which was being started by the Britishers in our country India, we started creating the nationalism on the mind of the people of our country India. The fourth point, Indians become familiar with the development in the world and awareness spread throughout the country. They come to know with the English education and many of the postal telegraph system, they started knowing that what the things not happening in our country India, but what the things are happening all over the world was being started being become familiar by that particular thing. Now the fifth one, new ways of transportation and communication were introduced in the country. Apart from that, the last point, thus, though the reforms were introduced by the British for their benefit, they benefited Indians too. This is how British reforms proved a blessings to our country, India, and the Indians. So here, I am ending with the topic. Let us have a short recap of the things which I have explained you. Now, in this particular chapter, we have studied about the Diwani right, which was being introduced by Lord Cornwallis in our country, India. Battle of Plassey, that was in the year 1757, by defeating Siraj-ud-Dowla, the political power of the Britishers started in our country, India. In the Battle of Buxar, that was in the year 1764, after defeating Mir Qasim in the Battle of Buxar, Britishers started Diwani right, that means to collect the land revenue from the peasants, started in our country, India. That was Bihar, Bengal and Orissa. Already Aurangzeb has given the authority to the Britishers that you can have a trade in Bengal without paying the taxes, and because of that only they started the particular Diwani right in our country, India. In that particular Diwani right, peasants, according to their annual basis income, they have to pay the taxes to the government, land revenue to the government. If they are not able to fulfill the particular revenue, they started just exploiting their jewelry, their house, their land to the landlords, and because of that only in our country, India, the peasants who were completely working out started exploiting by the Britishers, and landlords were given the responsibility to collect the revenue from the peasants. Later on, that particular act to collect the revenue was named as Permanent Settlement Act. Apart from that, there was a destruction of the Indian trade in industries in our country, India. Britishers used to take it was a rule made by British East India Company in our country, India, that whosoever used to manufacture any of the goods in our country, India, they have to pay 80% of the tax to the government. So Britishers used to take the raw material from our country, India, when they, with the very cheapest price in a bulk, they were taking the raw material from our country, India, while exporting the goods from the India to the factories of England. They were not paying the taxes. Finished product was always being done in the factories of England to save themselves from the revenue of the production. When the finished product was being brought to our country, India, during that time also they were not paying the taxes. So in the Indian market, the Britishers have the particular chance to sell the product in a very cheapest price, while our Indian merchants, if they want to manufacture any of the thing, they have to pay 80% of the tax, and because of that only our Indian merchants and employees were not able to just fight against the Britishers in the Indian market, and slowly and gradually the cottage industry, small scale industry stopped in our country, India. Later on we have studied about Wellesley. We have studied about William Bentinck. William Bentinck was a person who, with a great light, just came to our country, India, comparing with Lord Dalhousie, Wellesley, Cornwallis. William Bentinck was something different from the other Governor Generals. He, when came to our country, India, started giving the opportunity to have a job in the British East India Company. We, the Indians, were allowed to use our mother tongue in the court. Apart from that, he just banned the sati system in our country, India, with the support of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Apart from that, this person, with a support of Lord Macaulay, started the English education in the year 1834, and every year he decided to spend 1 lakh rupee for the development of the English education among the people of our country, India. But actually that particular spending and the starting of the English education did not benefit for the people of, in most probably the youngster did not get the benefit of this English education, because it just nationalism creates in the mind of the people of our country, India. Later on, this person just work out for the upliftment of the nation. Then we have studied about what are the benefits and what were the disadvantages of getting the English education in our country, India. Then we have studied about the benefits by starting the first railway line, which was being started by Dalhousie, that was between Mumbai to Thane in the year 1853. And later on, in the year 1854, he started the model postal system, telegraph system in our country, India. Later on, this person started 3 universities in our country, India. Dalhousie, that was in the year 1857 in Mumbai, Chennai and Kolkata. So this particular things which was being started by the Britishers also get benefit to the Indians later on. First of all, it got this particular reforms, the railway, the postal system, the telegraph system, the particular English education university then was being started by the Britishers to get smooth administration in our country, India. But later on, after just this particular reforms being made by the Britishers, they all benefited to our country, India. And the most important characteristic by this particular reforms in the mind of the Indians was nationalism create in the mind of the people of our country, India. So here I am ending with my topic. Thank you and have a nice day.